This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Hello again, and welcome to another episode of The Empty Chair. Before Cole introduces our guest, I just want to send out a couple of messages. Well, you know me, Phil Lahey. What a lot of you don't know is I am also a recovering alcoholic, and what Cole will explain later is that this is Alcohol Recovery Month. That being aside, when I'm throwing out to all you people there, MVP ASAP, Cole, myself, and all of our members, we offer some incredible services and resources. If you have an organization, church group, workplace, club, neighborhood, what we try to do is we try to reach people who haven't been affected. Kind of get them educated, show them the warning signs. So please reach out to us. We'll set up what do you call it?
A lunch and learn.
A lunch and learn.
Yes.
That was very hard for me to remember.
I got that.
It's a lunch and learn, or maybe a coffee hour in the morning. Doesn't cost you anything, and what you can learn could save you a lot of heartache and maybe even the life of your kids. So please, don't be ashamed. Reach out to us. If you know someone who's dealing, a family member if you're a family member or you know a family member who's dealing with someone with an addiction, give me a call. We also have great support groups for families of addicts. So I give that message just about every show because our main goal has always been and will always be the prevention and the education of substance and alcohol misuse. Take it away.
Why, thank you very much. So nice to have you here. I missed you my last show.
Yes, I did.
And so it's an honor and privilege to be with you here this evening.
Yeah. Well,
so thank you for blessing me, them, and our audience with your presence.
I didn't bring no presents.
We know,
that's
we
why
know.
You wanted me here.
Yes. And just piggybacking on what he did say, we do have, it could be a breakfast, it could be a lunch and learn, or it could be after dinner, cheese and crackers, just to get into your organization and speak with your staff in regards to where does one go if someone has an issue. Because believe it or not, there are still people out there that are still hasn't affected them yet,
Yep.
or although our statistics tell us that if you have 5 houses, 3 of the 5 houses are affected with it. So
Yeah, don't be a member of the Not My Kid Club.
Yes.
It's not a fun club, I promise you.
I agree. So April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and we're doing a lot of education throughout this month so that we stick by our mission and our goal for MVP ASAP, which is education. The CDC does report that 175,000 lives are lost each year to alcohol-related causes, which is higher than those who pass away from cancer and heart disease.
I hope so.
So that is why, right? That is why we are here, to keep the education going, to talk about prevention, and to keep these conversations light so people can just enjoy getting involved and engaging in the conversation.
Is that my part?
Always.
Always, okay.
Yes. So there are some benefits from just quitting drinking for 30 days. I had a lot of friends in January who said, I'm going to do dry January. And even just for 30 days of not drinking, you improved hydration, you get better sleep, you enhance your brain function, you can lose some weight, your liver regenerates, you lower your blood pressure, you improve your digestion, you enhance your immune system, increase energy levels, healthier skin, and this list goes on. So even if you're not alcoholic, sometimes it's just great to give your body a reset and do a 30-day challenge of not having a substance in your body and seeing what it feels like. This past weekend, I spent with hundreds of individuals at the New Hampshire Young People AA Conference. And there we had over 1,400 years of recovery at one conference. And it was the most beautiful thing to see young people in recovery carrying a message of hope. And if you have never heard of the Young People's Conference, I highly recommend that you just Google Young People AA, and it will bring you to New Hampshire or the Massachusetts one, and get involved. It is an amazing experience. The kids were a little loud, right? Yeah. But I was like, but what a great place to be as young as they are and to be in recovery. And so check them out as well. And that's the Young People's AA Conference, and they do have one every year. So next year, I know Manchester, New Hampshire won the bid, so I'm looking forward to seeing where they are going to be hosting it. One thing that Phil forgot to talk about was his Circle of Hope, which meets Monday night at Sanborn Hall.
Chemo brain.
That's right, too early. So every Monday evening, Phil and Fran and myself, we host Circle of Hope, and that's for family and friends. If you have someone struggling in your family, neighbor, friend, dog, pet, whatever, come on down and see us, 6:30 to 8 at Sanborn Hall at the Methuen Police Department, 90 Hampshire Street, Methuen, Mass. If you need services prior to that, you can always reach out to Phil or myself, and we will get you hooked up. Also,
are you going to tell them about Resource Night?
Yes. Oh, the first Monday of the month.
You might have forgot. Chemo brain?
Yes. The first Monday of the month, we do offer Resource Night, which is where I actually had you come on down and speak. We do Resource Night. We bring in different organizations to come in and share what type of services they have, how to get enrolled, what insurances they take, and we also do Narcan training the first Monday of every month as well. That being said, we take the month of June, July, and August off because everyone goes away for the summer and we don't have a lot of people. But Narcan is always available. If you need it, please just contact me. Also on Tuesday evenings, we have Celebrate Recovery at the Ray of Light Cafe in Haverhill, Massachusetts at 6 o'clock. And the only other thing I have coming up is another education event, which is April 18th. I will be doing a live Facebook podcast out of Costa Broadcasting, and I will have some amazing speakers there as we continue this conversation about education, prevention, and awareness.
Okay. So thank you for joining us on the Empty Chair, and we'll see you next month. Bye-bye.
One more thing I do have is we do sell advertisement for our live podcast. As we are sharing, there will be advertisement going underneath us during our live podcast. So if you would like to see your name, your organization name, it's a win-win because your advertisement will be seen not only live, but will also be on all of the archives, which is on YouTube, iTunes, Google, Spotify. So people will constantly see your advertisement.
And you'll feel that the prices are a lot better than you'll get.
Yes.
Papers and so forth.
Absolutely. So if you want information about that, you can always go to mvpasap.com and check it out. You can reach out to Phil or myself, but we are getting our advertisements ready for 2025. So reach out fast. So that being said, we have two amazing men here that we had one we had at our resource night, and one I got to meet when I did the tour of your facility. And I know you're both here to share a few statistics about alcoholism, so we can do some prevention and education. And then we would love to hear why you're here in real life. So what's your real job?
Absolutely.
So
the positive stuff.
Yeah. So Mitch, why don't you tell us a few statistics about alcohol?
I looked up a few statistics on the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics, and a couple of the ones that popped out to me, right, was first off, 1 in 7 Americans are at risk for developing alcohol use disorder.
Wow.
Only 1 in 10 of those will ever seek treatment, though.
Wow.
Right? And that goes kind of with like my next statistic, which is during the COVID lockdowns, drinking went up in about 60%.
Bingo.
Yeah,
60% of American households. And since then, the numbers for people seeking treatment hasn't raised that much to equal that.
That's a shame.
Wow.
Which tells me that there's still
a large percent still
I don't
drinking.
know if it's really that they don't know where to get the help.
Yep.
I think it's that they're afraid to ask for it.
Well,
Right.
you know, and it's true because alcohol is a deadly disease. Alcoholism is a deadly disease,
Right.
but is also socially acceptable.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I was a heavy drinker for a long time, but when you brought up COVID, that put me over the edge.
Yeah.
I wasn't working. I'd sit out in the driveway with my dog and I'd sneak drinks
Right.
until my wife told me, you're not sneaking them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I decided, well, she'd helped me decide to get sober.
Right.
Well, almost 4 years ago now.
Right.
But COVID was the, you're right, that
Yeah.
was the big downfall.
And I can only, like, this is purely assumption, right?
Yep.
But it's also based off of my experience as well, is with the numbers of, like, it's clear that, you know, drinking went up for over half the American population.
Yeah.
And people seeking treatment didn't really jump the same rate as the people starting to drink. So, like, why is that? Is it because they don't know where to go? Is it, I think there's still a large stigma around asking for help dealing with alcohol. You know, it's important to look at it no different than, like, cancer.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Would I look at you any differently for seeking help for cancer?
Right.
You know, I wouldn't. You know, there's a lot of strength and courage in asking for help with any disease that we're dealing with.
Yeah, and the thing is, like you mentioned, cancer or being a diabetic, there's treatment for that, but people run to get the treatment.
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to addiction, they have a tendency to run the other way.
Right. Right. And it's fear. It's fear. It's shame. It's a lot of things involved in that, right? But there's a lot of courage and strength in asking for help. You know?
Oh, I agree.
And
Amen.
that's, you know, for a long time I thought I could do it on my own, right? I could figure this out. This is something that I'm pretty decent when it comes to a lot of other things in my life.
Yep.
I can handle them. I couldn't handle this.
Nope.
Couldn't figure it out.
But did it take you a long time before you realized that you couldn't control it?
So it would take me, I knew early on that I had a problem.
Yeah.
Define early on.
Around 18.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I knew early on that, like, I was not like my friends that were drinking on the weekends.
Yep.
You know?
Doesn't mean he got sober. It just means he's drinking.
Right.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like, I'm different.
But
I'm
I didn't
different.
realize it till I was 71.
Right. Right. When it came to figuring out how to
Yeah.
fix this problem,
Yep.
Yeah.
that took some time.
Yep.
I thought that I was just going to be able to, if I can stop with that,
Yeah.
I can pick up, I'll get it, I'll go back to work, I'll figure everything else out, and it never worked out like that. And that was, I'm stubborn. Took a lot of tries for that to before it sunk in that that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That's not going to work, Mitch. You know? Yeah, I just, I'm
Well, how old are you now?
33 right now.
And how long you been clean?
2 years.
2
Amen.
years.
Congratulations.
So, lot of trials and tribulations in the last 15 years, right? A lot of things that I thought were good ideas that weren't. A lot of things that, but like the one thing that I maintained that whole time was not giving up,
Nice.
right? Not
That's
giving
one
up.
thing we always say to all the families.
Yeah.
If there's breath, there's a chance.
Yeah.
While they're breathing, you
Yeah.
still have a chance. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I just, I know, like, for me, like, there was, especially after periods of time that I had put together. So, because I've had periods of sobriety before now.
Sure.
You know, anytime that there was a slip or anything like that, like, even though I knew that, like, asking for help was the answer,
Yep.
there was like a pit in my stomach when it came to doing that.
It's a shame. It's
Right.
a shame all the way.
Right.
Can you go back to when you were 18? You said you knew you were different. Can you define what that difference is so that if someone's listening tonight, they might be able to identify with that?
So, like, I can sum it up with, like, earlier than that, a little bit earlier than that, is when the first time I drank with friends.
Yep.
And I wanted, you know, we drank, we got drunk. I woke up the next morning, I wasn't drunk anymore. I didn't like that. I called my friends up to do it again, and they didn't want to do it again. They were like, we'll do it, it's Tuesday. They're like, we'll drink Friday.
Yeah.
And, like, that didn't sit well with me. Didn't sound like a good idea to me.
Let me ask you, genetic-wise, anything in your family?
So my mother has been a recovered alcoholic and drug addict for many years now.
Amen.
Yep. I also suffer from, on my father's side, he likes to dabble in quite a few things, but you know, my mother's been recovered for quite some time.
So you starting at such an early age, you had 2 strikes against you as a starter.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a huge believer in the genetics, especially when you start experimenting that early in age.
I believe it was a matter of time, you know, which is another thing we can talk about, but it was a matter of time, you know, and I had some trauma in my life, and I don't think that's what made me an alcoholic either. I think it might have sped the process up a little bit, you know, yeah, I believe, you know, one way or another, like I was gonna encounter this issue.
One of the keys to addiction, both alcohol and drug addiction, for sure.
Well, we're going to get back to you.
What do you have for some
falling
facts?
asleep over here, so we have to talk to him.
Right.
What do you have for some facts for us?
Well, he's a grandpa now.
Yes.
So.
Oh, congratulations. What time today did you become a grandfather?
Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I believe at 4:06 p.m.
4:06. So congratulations, Grandpa, to a beautiful baby girl at 9 pounds 6 ounces.
Yes.
I said, did she come out carrying a football? And Phil said, I think that's the whole team. That's a big baby.
Yeah,
so congratulations to you.
Before we start, what do you got for clean time?
I have 2 years. March 1st, 22.
Oh, you guys were almost on the buddy plan. Huh?
March 1st, 22.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Nice. Do you have some statistics or facts you want to share with us?
Sure. Yeah. I grabbed some, just some quick facts and kind of scary, you know, and a lot of it, what I honed in on was the state of Massachusetts itself.
Yep.
And it says that in Massachusetts that 21.1% of Massachusetts adults over 18 binge drink at least once per month.
Yeah.
And then to add on to that, they state that 68.4% of people who die from excessive alcohol use in Massachusetts are male.
Wow, those guys sure know how to drink.
Yes.
It's always the meal.
Binge drink.
Because we drive you to drink, so there you go.
Correct. right. Yeah.
So tell us a little about you. I know you're 2 years sober. Yeah. And how old were you when you started your drinking career?
First time, I'm not one of these guys that even remembers his first drink, but it was the age of 13.
Okay.
13, yeah. It was around that time, for sure. Yeah.
And same, do you have genetics in your family? Is your mother or father? Did you come from a family that had addiction?
Yeah, both suffer from alcoholism, yeah.
Okay.
But Mom is probably listening.
Yep.
She's recovered. She's doing great.
Amen.
She's
Way to go, Mom.
beautiful, beautiful
right.
soul.
That's right.
Sitting there with.
And he's not just saying
with my
that because
granddaughter.
you're watching him on TV.
Nice.
Oh no, she's a
So
rock star.
she's a great grandmother.
She's there with the little baby
Whoa,
now. Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. And then because of recovery, we have that opportunity
Correct.
for everyone to witness the miracle that happened for your family today.
Yeah.
Yes. So how did you get into sobriety?
Pain.
What type of pain?
A lot of pain, a lot of stubbornness, you know, me wanting to do things my way, and it got very, you know, I got well at the age of 38, you know, so I tried many ways, and what got me here was homelessness, multiple overdoses, a lot of pain. You know,
So when you started, was alcohol your primary, and then you switched into drug addiction?
Yeah, I see it all as alcohol, really.
Yeah.
You know, alcoholism comes in, comes in many forms. Alcoholic thinking,
Yep.
you know. But yeah, alcohol was initially what it began with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's not unusual. Even those who do go to the hard drugs, a vast majority will either be alcohol or pot. They can say it's not a gateway drug, but when you're 13, 14, 15 years old, you're damn right it is.
Yeah, how do you have a couple beers and not do a couple lines of cocaine?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Or do the reverse. How do you do that without doing that? Right. Yes, that actually brought me down faster.
Well, especially when you're that young and you're already high or you're already drunk, and somebody puts something down in front of you, why not?
Right. And that's what happens with some of our kids. They don't even know what's in front of them, and they start using it, and the next thing you know, they become full-blown addicts quickly. You know?
Yeah, and again, especially I think with the genetic factor, it makes you more susceptible anyway.
It definitely does, but because if anyone is listening, if your parents are addicts or your grandparents, it doesn't mean that you have to become one as well. And that's why we do the prevention and education, because there's that whole piece there that you can take control of your life, and you can make that choice knowing, if I know that my parents are alcoholic and addict and I'm holding my life in my hands, do I want to risk my life to take the chance to roll that dice to say it could happen or it couldn't? Am I willing to throw everything away to find out? And that's the part that we try and push out there to individuals.
Like he mentioned, like this young man mentioned in the beginning, it's socially acceptable. So it's
Absolutely.
Oh, young man, you're talking about me.
Yes, sir.
I knew I liked you.
So, why don't you give us a little bit more of your background and what your struggles were, and how many treatment centers did you go to? What words of advice would you give our listeners about this
Our
tonight?
parents.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm a parent as well, and that's a whole nother discussion for another day. It's a frightening world out there. I feel terrible for what I put my mother through. My son's 13, and my daughter's going to be 6 at the end of the month.
13, that's a scary
Can you say
age.
daughter again?
Daughter.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Fall River area.
I thought you were from Methuen.
Yeah.
daughter.
No, I'm from the
Like,
Fall River
wow.
area.
Promise to be doing what's best for Methuen.
Coffee.
So you got a boy's 13.
My boy's 13.
And how are you having those conversations?
He's a great kid, but one of the things I hope for, right? Like, I try to see the good in like everything, and like he's seen a lot.
Yep.
He's seen a lot with having me as a father, and like I've always kind of been close by, even maybe when I wasn't in the best of shape. I'm hoping like the good out of that is that he sees that it's not, that's not how you want to be.
How do you talk to him
right?
about this?
I try to think, I have a great mother and a great father. I try to think of all the things that they did with me that didn't work though.
Yeah.
And I try to do the opposite. I don't know if it works either though. I don't know. I don't know, but I try to just be someone he can talk to.
Yep.
Nice.
Right? I try not to yell. I try not to get angry. I just try to be someone that, like, not necessarily more of a friend than a dad, but just somebody that he is comfortable coming to.
Yeah.
If he has questions about anything, if he's experienced anything, whatever it may be, and like know that he has a safe place to go to talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about.
In the Circle of Hope, just about all those things you said
Yeah.
are things we teach. Avoid confrontation.
Yeah.
Don't detach. Tough love doesn't work. You don't enable, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But you always give them options, and you're right. If you yell at them, you're playing right into their hands.
Right.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Love comes in many
And
fashions.
does he know about your past?
He knows. Yes. He's. We've had talks about it. I've talked to him about it, and he's 13, so like sometimes it's a little bit of a joke to him. Everything,
Okay.
But we've had serious conversations about it, and like he's seen me at my worst. He's seen me at my best. Like I try to find the good in everything. So like at times I wasn't the best dad, but maybe I set a bad example of what not to.
Yeah,
what
my
this
best
can
friend
do.
the other day had called me, and she goes, "I have you on speakerphone," and she started grilling me about my drinking career. And it was to prove a point to her daughter. And
You had a career in drinking?
Oh, yeah.
I never got paid for drinking.
I know. And her point was like, I was the bad example of what not to do. And I hung up and I was like, wow, my best friend just used me as a bad example of what not to do. Right. But if they're going to use me
If it's
in
going to
any
help my
way,
son, I'll do it. If it's going to help my son, I'll
Sure.
gladly take it.
She goes,
But
but
the
tell
thing
her
is-
this part of the story. And I'm like, okay. And I tell her. And Beth's going, see, Lola, it was verbatim, exactly word to word. And I'm like, because she knows my story inside and out. It was just so funny. But yes, if our experiences of what we did stops an individual from doing what we did, then tell everyone.
Well, what does your boy think about what you do now? Does he know what you do?
He knows what I do now. Yeah, he's proud of me.
Good.
We
Nice
have a
feeling, huh?
we have a really great relationship, me and my son, and and my daughter's 6, so she, you know, she was young before,
Right.
you know, she was young, but you know, the two of them are just great kids. I got pretty lucky. I don't know how much I had to do with it. I don't know how much I had to do with it, but they're just two great kids.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
You're very blessed.
Yep.
You really are.
Congratulations.
And you start the conversations young. The younger, the better. And you put it in genre where it can be understood, and not so far
Right.
scoped that they're not understanding it, because it's all about the education piece
So
for
I
them.
suppose we ought to ask you, what is it that you do now?
What is it that I do now? For
Besides
like
sit on the couch
for a
and-
job?
Yeah, what do you do?
I am the head of admissions at Heartfelt Recovery Centers.
Wonderful.
Yep. So we are an outpatient facility that helps people with substance abuse issues, and you know, like it's something that's really important to me, right? When I was speaking earlier about I'm just gonna stop drinking, right? And like I was like, all right, well, I can't stop drinking on my own. I can't stop using on my own. I'll go to detox, but then I would get out. I wouldn't do anything else. Wouldn't do anything else. So aftercare is important to me, right? You know, I have the longest amount of sobriety I've ever had in my life. I completed 60 days of outpatient after I went to detox.
And you work in recovery every day?
And I work in recovery every day.
So that's huge.
It
Yeah.
is. And you brought up a big, a very part that leads to success is when after detox, an individual goes into aftercare and possible sober living, because that's where your numbers start to switch.
Yeah.
All the doctors say, like when you go into a facility, the doctor, 20% of what the doctor's job is to diagnose you and to keep you safe during your detox.
Right.
The other 80% is your aftercare, your surroundings,
Right.
where
Exactly.
you live, and that's what equals your recovery.
Yeah, yeah.
See, a lot of mostly parents get the idea that when you're clean, you're all better. And it's not.
I've
You've got to
been,
do more than
Yeah.
just stop
It's looked pretty
A lot
good.
more than that.
Yeah, I've gotten sober before, and like it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked pretty good on the outside.
Yeah.
But in reality,
Yeah.
you know, like I went to sober living. I didn't really do much other than live in a sober. I can pass a drug test to keep my bed at the sober house. You know what I'm
Most
saying? I'll
can.
get a job.
Yeah, when you
I'll
call
put-
this guy, that's not one of the informative things he's going to tell
I mean,
you.
I can legitimately pass one if it's to keep my bed at the
Nice.
sober
Yes,
house.
okay.
I can legitimately pass one. Like if I got to stay sober to live here, I'll stay sober.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'll get a job. I'll put a car on the road. I'll do this. I'll do that. But like that's all outside things. Those are all outside things, and it looks good. And like my mother would see me, and she'd be like, "Mitch is doing good. I love this." But like what she doesn't know is like I'm not doing anything I haven't treated any
Yes.
spiritual or alcohol problem at all.
Yep.
Right? So like inside, like I'm a second away from taking a drink pretty soon. You know? And that's where like, you know, the aftercare came in, building like a solid foundation early on in my recovery. You know, sober living, you know, going to meetings with the guys in the house, doing all these things, right? And building like a solid routine of like what this is. And it's really not a large price to pay to have the life that I have today compared to what I had to do before, you know, compared to my life before.
Well, I'm going to say I noticed one of the main differences between being clean and being in recovery is I see people who really grasp recovery, the gratitude they have, you know, the passion that they have. And when you get to that level there, your chances keep increasing because you kind of like yourself.
Yeah, you've accepted it's a threefold. You know, you got a mind, body, spirit. You know. Yeah.
Now, how many kids you got?
Phew, 4.
Okay. Are you close with them?
Yes.
How do they feel about you now as opposed to your past and so forth?
You'd have to. So, my adult daughter, you know, feels, you know, the way she feels, and then you've got my son, right, little Scotty Jr. He, you know, I can't do no wrong. You know, I'm his hero.
How old are your kids?
Ah, you gonna do that to me?
Well, obviously one of them's old enough to have
17, 13, nope, 17, 14, 12, and 2.
and 2. Holy mackerel.
Wow.
So the
You've got some
The
different mindsets
17-year-old's
there.
one that
You
had the
know.
baby.
The 17
Oh my
and
goodness.
13
Yeah.
are aware of your past, obviously.
Yes.
And how did they deal with it then, and how did you deal with it then and now?
They've been rock stars, man. Their mental toughness from the get-go has been, there's been a lot of damage. You know, my alcoholism brought me to a very, very low point. It brought me to my knees, to the point where, you know, they had to be placed in, you know, different homes with families and things like that, with family.
Yeah.
But they've just stuck by my side, you know. I had a tough time accepting the fact that I had a tough time, and we were actually just talking about it, because it's like, you go to detox, right? Your mind's cleared a little bit, but then I have this ego that tells me that my kids need me, right?
Yeah.
So aftercare isn't a thing because they need me,
Yeah.
you know? And I dealt with that delusion for some time, and it caused a lot of pain, but so as far as I go, I was the only one that had a tough time accepting and dealing with it, but just the whole time they've just been there.
Now, how has it changed with them since you've been sober?
Only God, you know. It's a miracle, you know. It's been absolutely beautiful.
I got to tell you, you are one of the most fortunate people I've ever met, because a vast majority of the time, the kids, you know, when you're not doing good, you know, kids are pretty good at detaching. You are so fortunate.
Yeah.
Truly are.
Yeah, through my alcoholism and through the ups and downs, it was, you know, it was an ongoing battle. You know, I'd put some time together. I'd get back into the, you know, back and forth. You know, you give them that hope, and then you just pull the rug right off from under their feet 6 months later. And there was a lot of that.
Yeah, I did back and forth for 50 years. I got you beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's good about, not good, but kids are resilient. They do bounce back faster than we do. And with the right tools, the right therapist, the right type of therapy, they definitely bounce back, which is pretty cool.
So what do you do now?
I am actually the co-owner of Heartfelt Recovery Centers.
Oh, you guys know each other.
A little bit.
A little bit.
That's awesome.
What made you open it? What made you go into this type of?
I mean, I've again through this journey, I've met beautiful individuals. Not only that, but I met the power of God, and ultimately Him just working through people. You know, I had gone through. I'd worked in the field already. I was working, you know, sober houses, and through that time I met an individual who saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and also, you know, not to get negative or try to bring that energy down, but I lost, due to alcoholism, a little brother this year, in July. Jeff Landry, he you know, we lost him to an overdose, and
I'm sorry.
It instilled something in me, man, and that's what I mean about the power of God, is like, He can do something for me that I could never do for myself. You know, He can put people in front of me, and losing somebody and being available to my mom today, and being it's unexplainable.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we're so sorry for you.
So with all that,
how old was he?
At the time, 34. Yeah, 34. Yeah. Tough loss.
Yeah, it is.
Turn negatives into positives today, though. That's what I mean by the power of God. Is like, before, it's a pity party.
Yeah.
You know, it's an excuse to drink. It's an excuse to go
Sure.
back out there and cause more pain.
Absolutely.
Whereas today
Absolutely.
we can do something about it. So yeah, so that's ultimately what Heartfelt Recovery is all about. Is you know, I had some plans with him, and how can I turn a negative into a positive, and how can I just dedicate my life to others? You know, how can I do it? And again, somebody saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, gave us an opportunity to go out and just serve.
Well, when, you know, with just a couple of years sober, that is a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
And like I say, with that short time, and I'm sure in the beginning it wasn't smooth sailing. Yeah.
Still new.
Did that kind of
Very new.
get the monkey on your shoulder, or?
Oh yeah, but it was good. My journey's been it's you know, about 14, 15 months sober, again, I was introduced to an individual, and he came and knocked at the sober house door, and never do I answer the door, and I did that day, and he grabbed me by my shoulder and he prayed over me, and I just felt something flow through flow through me. And since then, I won't get too into it, but I've been very into God's word and the Bible, and I've received just love and grace.
That's wonderful.
It's been beautiful.
That's awesome. And what type of modalities do you guys use at Heartfelt Recoveries?
Yeah, so we take like a bunch of different approaches to, because, so like me, I'm an AA guy. That's what helps me. Yep. It's not the only way to get better. It's not the only way to recover, right? We have research-based approaches, we CBT, DBT, right? We also provide a holistic approach as well. Art therapy, music therapy, you know, biofeedback, and we like to explore many options, because what works for this person may not work for this person, right? I think what's important, right, is like you find, for me, like I found something that I could get with and I enjoyed and I liked. I think that's important for whoever it is to find that thing for them that helps them be a better person today than they were yesterday.
Well, tell me, when you do an intake of an individual,
yeah,
okay, what are you looking for in this individual to know if he's doing it for the right reason, or just to make mom happy that he's faking something?
So I don't know if that's necessarily important.
Right,
No?
I agree. Whatever gets him through the door,
Yeah,
whatever seed you can start planting.
I don't know if that's necessarily
Yep.
important, because I've seen lights switch on at weird times.
Yep, I agree.
You know?
Now, do they have to have some kind of sobriety before they start?
No.
No.
Well, typically, you know, you come to us after you don't have to have sustained sobriety.
Right.
You know, typically people come to us after detox, and you know, or that have stopped using or overused their medication maybe in a couple of days or so. But you know, the goal is to achieve long-term sobriety.
Now, tell me, how long has this place been in operation now?
We opened December 18th of 23, so 4.5 months.
Okay.
Very new.
So, in that short time, do you know, have an idea of what your success rate? I mean, obviously it's only been 4 months, but you must do follow-up, right?
Right. So we've had, I believe, since December, we've had about 30 admits, 20 of which are also sober. So
That's awesome.
it's okay.
That's better than average, my friend.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. You
And
know,
you have some great staff there.
We do.
That's for sure. I went down and toured it, and one of their staff members I worked with for many years at another facility, and I don't know if he's still there, but if he is, you're blessed to have him for sure.
He is. He's probably working right now.
Awesome, perfect.
I don't know if we can get him to stop.
Yeah, and
So what about insurance-wise?
So right now we're currently out of network. It's always uncomfortable talking about it, because it's just, you know, we're in contract to work with Medicaid, Medicare. As of right now, we only take out-of-network insurances. But with that being said, we keep an amount of chairs open for scholarships as well. People that may not necessarily have the insurance that we take or have the funds to provide treatment.
And is it a day program or evening?
A little bit of both.
So what time during the day and what time during the evening?
So we offer a day program from 9 o'clock to 3. And then we have, that's Monday through Friday, and then our evening program is Monday through Thursday, 6 to 9.
Awesome.
Now, if you happen to have someone who is not really doing well in the outpatient, do you have referrals to a house or something like that?
So if we have somebody that we're not necessarily helping, right, and they may need a higher level of care, whether it be for, you know, mental health reasons, whatever it may be, we have a multitude of resources that we could, you know, we don't set anybody up for failure. You know, that's not the. If we can't help you, we're gonna find someone who can. Right. You know, we've had a pretty good success rate so far. We have you know, we just come in and we just try to do. There's no like magic pill or secret.
Nope.
We're just a bunch of people that care and want to see people get better.
Love.
You know.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, the one with the addiction has to put in the effort.
Yeah.
You provide the tools.
Yeah. That's.
You know, it's and I'm going to get political, excuse me. It's a shame that with all the money that they've gotten from pharmaceuticals and this, and all the talk about the state and the federal government wanting to make sure that everybody has access to treatment, it's not happening. People still can't afford or get into a place. That's something that's been bothering me for a long time. And it's a shame that programs like you have, you should have so many people coming that you're turning them away to somewhere else.
Right.
And it's a shame that they don't get the opportunity to get into a program.
Right.
I really feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Not just
They
on your,
do some scholarships, which is helpful, definitely.
Yeah, it is, but you know, you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Right.
We give scholarships too. We shouldn't have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, they provide Section 8 housing for people.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they do that for us?
No, I'm with you.
You know?
Our goal is to be able to, to take anybody.
Yeah.
I'm a Medicaid guy, and I didn't.
But let's face it, you
I
can't
wanted
So
run
it's New
around.
Hampshire
long
Medicaid and
time.
Medicare you guys take? So that
We're in contract. We're working.
We're working.
We
Oh,
just
okay.
filed to
Yeah.
apply to be able to take
that's
it.
awesome.
It's a
When it
process.
comes down to
Yes,
it,
it is.
It's a process.
you're running a business.
Unfortunately.
You can't run a business at a loss.
Right, but
And
you.
if you're running at a loss, then there's more people
Right.
that are going to be needing help.
Right.
Right.
It's also not just like we can open our doors and say, hey, we take everybody.
Exactly.
Right?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that's not how
Exactly.
it works.
I know.
No,
We
not
have
at
to
all.
we have to fill out contracts with them
Sure.
and call them, and those take months.
Yeah.
Right.
Months.
Yeah.
So
On some of your, for our listeners, what could you talk about in regards to signs and symptoms that parents should have noticed about your drinking or your drugging that they may not have noticed? So if there's a family watching and they're wondering if their child is using, what would be some things you would want them to look for?
Sure.
From your own experience.
You want to go first, or?
Oh, yeah, I'll hit it. I tell you, that's a good question, because we've been focusing in on that and really trying to spread that awareness, because it's like a pivotal time, to try to nip it in the bud before it gets too bad. So it's, while we're at home, and typically it's just, we all have some sort of a routine, right? If that routine for whatever reason, you don't know where they are for, they're disappearing, or the checking account seems to be, there seems to be some gray area there, or dishonesty, even mood, check the mood, is the mood in your loved one changing, right? Are they irritable? Are they discontent, right? 4 days out of the week, and then a couple days of the week, they're just these big love bugs. And check, I always say the spirit, the heart, the mood. Check the mood.
So tell me something. Now you deal with, those looking for help. Do you also end up talking to their parents, family, whatever?
So we actually just, so monthly we have a family
Wonderful.
Support group, and we actually just ran our first one. We'll be doing those every month, but we do have family sessions as well. We highly recommend families to
Good for you.
be a part of their loved one's
Absolutely.
journey, because it's,
Because to me, parents are public enemy number one. Because most, especially now that marijuana is legal, I've seen people say, it's only a little booze, it's only a little pot.
Yeah.
Forget the fact that my father was a roaring alcoholic.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with it. Let them experiment and they'll find out.
one very important thing that I'd say is never turn your home into a treatment center.
No?
Never turn your home into a treatment center. And the other thing about this illness too is it's brutal, right? And nobody could love me sober.
Yeah.
My mother couldn't love me enough.
Yeah.
The best thing she ever did for me was say, listen, kid, you gotta go.
Yep.
Call me when you need a ride to detox.
And a lot of parents will never admit to the fact that either drinking or drugging turns into a disease,
Yeah.
a sickness that you can't make them stop.
No.
And you talk about pot being legal, not if you're under 21.
Yeah, I get that.
I
But the
throw
thing
that
is,
in. Don't
yeah,
tell
I
them
know,
it's
and
legal.
that's-
They're not
but the
21.
thing is, the way pot is talked about, marketed,
Yeah.
comes out of the ground, how bad can it be?
Right.
It helps those with illnesses. Percocets, opiates, they help people too,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
until the people help themselves so much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, if parents would please
Yeah.
just educate themselves.
Yeah.
And where could they educate themselves at?
Let's see. Maybe MVP ASAP.
Good idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like how that works.
I throw that plug in at least
Yeah.
once a show. Look,
Yeah.
we only got about 10 minutes left. I'd like to give each of you a couple minutes to kind of wrap up and, tell us how good your life is now.
Oh my goodness. So like first off, like you spoke of like gratitude earlier. I don't know what I did to like deserve the life that I have today, right? And like I feel like it's such a cliche because like everyone says it, but my life today is like it's more than like I ever really thought like was possible for me, because like for a long time I thought I was like gonna die a drug addict, right? And like because I had been trying to get it for a long time, right? I said I was trying to get it. I wanted it.
Yeah.
Wasn't really trying.
Really working for it.
I wanted it.
Yeah.
I wasn't really trying for it.
Yeah,
right?
everybody wants it. Who wants to work for it?
Right.
Right.
But like like I get to go to parent like the things I'm grateful for are like people that are like, oh dude,
That's awesome.
I get to go to parent teaching conferences. You know what I'm saying? I get to go to basketball games. I get to talk to my son when he's having like a tough day. Like he called me like he did something stupid. He was like, oh, I was down at the beach with my friends and I threw a rock at the beach and I hit a windshield on a car. I'm like, first off, you were throwing rocks at cars. Like, yeah.
Just reel it back a few sentences.
You were throwing at the beach. You missed the beach. Like, it's a big beach, dude.
Yeah, I think it's time to give up throwing.
He's like, all right, what do I do? I'm like, this is what you do.
Yep.
You're gonna go to Nana's down the street. She's gonna take you to the police station, right? And you're gonna tell him what you did.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Ain't it a
Nice.
great
You know what I'm saying?
Ain't it a great
That's
feeling to
awesome.
be happy over even the little things?
What was
Like-
the consequence to
All
that?
about the little
Well,
things.
he got scared at the police station. That's for
Good.
sure.
Yeah.
My dad was a Swansea police officer for a long time.
Yep.
So they all know us pretty well, and he.
Yeah, they know both of you.
Yeah, they put a little bit of fear in him, which I
Good.
think was helpful. But
Yeah.
just like it wasn't a great situation, but like I was able to look through and like he didn't try to run home and like pretend it. He called me.
He actually
Yeah.
called you. That's
You know,
huge.
that's big today. That's
Sure.
like what
That
you
is
know. Like I
awesome.
don't know if that would have happened 2 years ago. You know,
Right.
so
Prior to going into working in the field, what were you doing for work?
I was always. You want to talk about treatment centers I've been to? That's in like the hundreds. The jobs I've had is like in the
Okay,
hundreds.
so you didn't have like a field that
I
you were
was all over
specifically
the
in?
place.
Okay.
I would find a new job and this job's gonna fix me and I'm gonna be good, and I was the best employee they'd ever seen for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then I was miserable again and I started drinking or getting high, and like I've done for the last couple of years, it's been a lot of laboring jobs, asphalt companies, roofing companies, Stop and Shops. Just I was a plumber for a little bit, just like a jack of all trades, master of none.
You know, it's funny. 'Cause
That's
I can
funny.
remember not too long. Well, my daughter had a couple of years in clean, and she was in the car when we were driving through Lawrence or whatever. Like, and she says, "Oh, I worked there for 2 weeks. I worked there for a
Yeah.
month. I worked there for 3 days."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just, I never, not that anybody loves laying asphalt down, but like, I never found anything that like I was like, I made more money doing asphalt than I do now.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
My life I'm way happier today.
That's
And I'm going to
You
tell
know.
you, I've been fortunate. In my earlier life, I had a job that I liked a lot,
Yeah.
and now I drive a school bus, which I think is the best job. Just happy.
Yep.
Happy is great.
Yeah.
the kids love him
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
I give them drugs and they're happy. I'm only kidding.
What did you do before coming into this field?
Before Phil got this show canceled?
Yeah.
I have a similar, you know, to Mitch, you know. I actually worked at a grease exhaust system company for about 12 years in the kitchens, the hood where all the grease goes and the exhaust smokes out.
Yeah.
Real dirty job.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Right.
But, you know, to touch on, you know, a little bit of what it's like today, man, just what life is like is you know, as alcoholics, we live in such a low frequency of living, right? Fears, doubts, insecurities, all these things. And I think the true miracle is to live in that higher frequency, right, of acceptance and joy and happy. And you wake up and like, because my brain was so conditioned to wake up, be afraid, be scared, couldn't really see the, you know, the little things we talk about, right? I could never see the little things. There was no gratitude. And today it's gratitude, you know, it's the little things.
Isn't that great?
Going to my son, just won the championship, his thing, you know, and then he's speaking a parent-teacher thing, and my mom called me last week and she says, the teacher wants to include you into the parent-teacher thing, and my son, since then, has been great in school. Great in school.
That's
you know?
awesome.
He cares what dad thinks today, you know, and I can be available, and I can leave here and go be available to a little granddaughter, you know, and my daughter, and it's a miracle. That's what it is. People like us recover.
Real quick, how did you get two guys hook up?
So, can I take this one? Can I take this
Please
one?
do.
Yes.
You got 2 minutes to take it.
Scott was the house manager at the sober house that I showed up at during this last, you know, getting my feet wet in recovery again. And I've been around the block for a long time.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, I've been around the block for a long time, multiple sober houses, multiple attempts at recovery, AA, all that stuff. And I wasn't gonna go anywhere after detox. I was gonna do the detox and done again, go back home, my kids need me, I gotta get back to work, I gotta do this. And somewhere in detox, like I surrendered and I was like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes this time, right?
So where does he come in?
So I get to the house and he's the manager at the house.
Oh, okay.
And if you know about AA, it's about like, you know, changing, right?
Absolutely.
Like being honest, being open, being willing to do all these things, right? And like I'm a cynical, and like I'm like, I've been trying to do this I've been trying to do this for 15 years, I haven't gotten it yet. I said, all these people in AA are they're full of it. They're all liars, they're all manipulators, they just manage to stay sober longer than I am somehow. And I was like, this guy, I don't even know him from a hole in the wall. I was like, I bet you he's one of them. You know? I bet you he's like a liar, he's a manipulator. He doesn't actually do what he says he does, right? So like, and I'm stubborn, and like, I was like, I'm gonna find out that he's full of crap, and then I'm leaving this house. And I'm gonna go back home and do what I wanna do.
And here you are.
And I watched him. I spied on him, actually.
Yeah.
And I couldn't catch him slipping. He did what he said he was gonna do. You know, and it like instilled my faith that like
That's wonderful.
people, like we change, like people,
You really had to be convinced.
I had to become stubborn.
Yeah.
Very stubborn. Very
God
stubborn.
works. He works in.
You know.
Yes,
Well,
it is.
That
You
kept him around
got
long
a
enough.
minute? You want to close off with something?
No, just I want to thank you both for being here with us.
Thanks for having us.
And sharing your experience, strength, and hope with us, as always. I'm happy that you're right next to me.
Yeah, me too.
And he's giving you the countdown.
Huh? I have that much time left. Oh, good. I can talk longer.
Oh, nice.
No, actually,
We're not done yet.
I want to thank both of you for coming. Alcohol Awareness Month is why I wanted to make this meeting, especially when we had two people who actually had less clean time than me. I don't come across that too often. So I am so proud of both of you, not only for being in recovery, but that you're passing it on. And to me, that is what recovery is about. She's been doing it for a long time. I was doing it even before I was in recovery. But you guys are heroes. I want you to know that. You're very, very special people. And we are proud of you, and we're thrilled to have you on our show. And
if someone wanted to look up your organization,
Yeah,
what would
good point.
how would they find it?
So it's heartfeltrecoverycenters.com. We have
And
it.
centers with an S.
Yep.
Yep.
Centers with an S, and we have an admissions line, and it's 888-343-2521.
Awesome.
And that admission line is open all the time. So.
And I am so glad you guys are good with your family, good with yourselves, and being happy. And happy is just, I've been happy forever, but even happier.
Right.
The last.
Yeah.
We've all
almost-
been happy since you stopped drinking, actually.
Yeah, you know what?
He
My-
thought no one knew.
Yeah, my attitude has been so good that when I was recently diagnosed with cancer, I'm okay with it. I'm going to get treatment. I plan to try to get better. But I've had a really good life, had some good people in my life. So I'm good with everything. So if I'm not here next year when we come back, we're going to leave my urn with my ashes. We're going to replace the flower. Put my
You do
urn.
realize I'm going to punch you for that, right?
All right, guys, we're going to go before she gets mad.
Yes.
I love it.
I want to thank you all for coming. Please remember what these guys said. Remember what we have said about seeking out help. Me, Cole. Please, don't think your kid, just because he's doing a little drinking or a little pot or whatever, don't think he'll grow out of it. Look at your family history. Look at who he's hanging around with. Like these guys said, look at changes in his attitude. It could be a lifesaver for them and save you a whole lot of grief. So that being said, again, thank you all.
Yeah, thank you
and
all
we
for
will see
having
you
us.
next month
Yes,
on
we
the
will.
empty chair. Bye-bye.
Bye.